Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And I'm always asking people for suggestions of things that you would like to see. And recently I got a suggestion for cufflinks. Someone asked me if I've ever done cufflinks, which I had not up until that point. And I suggested, well, go on YouTube. I'm sure somebody can show you. And they said, well, we just really like your instructions. And so I was hoping that you had done some. So I thought, okay, well, let me do a little research. I always, back in the day when I was a business person and working corporate, I loved French cuffs. I just loved them. So I had a lot of cufflinks, but of course I had not made them. They were store-bought. Usually cufflinks have a design, a focal point on the front that will show on the outside of your sleeve, and then on the inside is just a bar. Well, the beauty about making your own cufflinks is you can put that focal on both sides, and then no matter how your arm turns, you will see the focal that you make on your cufflinks. So I did a little research. There's a man who shares my love for spirals. His name is Ross Barbera, and I know I've mentioned him before when I've done things that involve spirals, and he had a beautiful tutorial for cufflinks that I'm going to actually show you today. And then another one was a young man who just goes by the moniker, well, absolutely first class amateur. And he did some cufflinks. I've kind of changed his around a little bit and kind of just modified it into something different that I thought would work for us. So we're going to be doing cufflinks. If you haven't figured that out by now, all it takes is wire. In this case, I'm using 20 gauge wire to make our cufflinks, and you'll just need your usual pliers, your round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around. They start wider at the hilt and get smaller at the tip. Your square nose pliers that are slightly rounded on the outside and completely flat on the inside, and your cutters. These are wire cutters. Now, the one thing I want to say about your square nose pliers is if you when you buy these, when you look for these, look for the ones that just have the completely smooth inside. You don't want those grips on there because they'll chew up your wire. And that's not what you want. You don't need those little ridgy things. And that's it. And you'll need a ruler to measure everything and your 20 gauge wire, and you're good to go. So let's get down here to the mat and get started. Okay, the first cuff length that we're going to do requires 9 inches of 20 gauge wire. So I've got that here. And what you're going to, oops, I need you back here again. The first thing that you're going to do is measure 3¼ inches from one end. Just give myself 3¼ inches and put a bend in my wire. There we go. So this is my 3¼ inch side. Yes. And then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And I'm going to get a grip on the longer end. This is the 3¾ This is the slightly longer end, which is about 4¼ And I'm going to get a grip on this, and I'm going to make a loop around my pliers. Now, it might try to wiggle, but just work with it. I only want to go maybe 1/4 of the way down my pliers because I want to make a little loop here for the start of my spiral. I'm getting a lot of shadow. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Yep, living it. Well, I think we'll be good. Let's a little. Maybe that will help. Okay, so I'm about 1/4 of the way down my pliers. I'm holding on to the long end of my wire with my pliers, and I'm going to wrap this short tail around the long one, or around the pliers, until I get to the long wire. and then I'm going to stop there. So there I have a bit of a loop. Not going to go any further for the moment. Just want to get it to that point. Just like that. Then I'm going to switch to my square pliers. And I'm going to start to make a spiral. So I'm going to start wrapping this short tail of wire around the loop, this first loop that I've made. So let's start wrapping that around. It's a little tricky at first until you get some leverage in here. Here, now I have something I can grip and just start wrapping. You can see my spiral starting nicely. And I want them close together, these wraps. Nice, side by side, not overlapping. And I'm going to keep wrapping until I only have an inch of wire extended out from the base of my spiral here. So I'm going to keep wrapping, keep an eye on that wire until I get to about an inch, and then I'm going to measure. Yeah, it's about 7/8. Let's back that up just a tiny bit. Wrong side. There we go. So now I've got an inch of wire here. So this is what I have so far. So now I'm going to go to the other side here, this extension, and I'm going to make another spiral going back in the other direction, just a small one. So I'm going to slide I'm just going to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, and I'm going to start a turn, get a nice circle there. So I've got a loop, keep going, wrapping that wire around itself. So I've got the start of the spiral. It's trying to bunch up. So let's move that over. There we go. And then I'm going to continue with my square pliers, wrapping the spiral going the other direction until it is right on top of the large one. So that's what I have so far. That's one side. A lot of glare. Stop that. That's better. Okay, so that's one side. So then I'm going to measure, straighten my little stem here. So I'm going to measure about a half an inch from the base of my spiral here. Half an inch. Here we go. Right about there. And I'm going to put a bend in. Just like that. All right. Straighten that out a little bit. Not much. It doesn't have to be straightened out much because it's about to be spiraled. So then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers again, hold on to this long section, or no, the other way. Hold on to this section. This looks a little long. Let me remeasure, make sure that that's half an inch. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to the short section of wire this time, if I can grasp it. There we go. Hold on to that. And I'm going to wrap my wire. Come on, stay in place. This is the most fidgety part of this whole thing. Wrap that. Stop it. All right. It's going. I don't want to. Ah, there. Get a grip on that. Wrap that around. Nice and easy. There we go. Okay, so now I have a loop going around my pliers again. And let's once again switch to the square pliers and make a spiral. And just take your time with this. In the beginning, there's not a whole lot to hold on to, so it's a little bit of a challenge, but you'll get there. Boy, I don't remember it being this challenging the first time I did this. Trying to get some purchase here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go back to my round ones until I can get another little wrap around here. I need something to hold on to. Okay, now I think I can switch. There. Nice. Turn it over so you can see. It's funny, if I turn it over so you can see, I can't see. Okay. Make my little spiral. And again, I'm just going to keep wrapping this until I have 1 inch of not spiraled wire. Just like I did on the other side. Come on. I'm almost there. And a little bit. Okay. A little bit more. And measure my little inch. A little bit more. There we go. All right. So now I just need to make my little spiral going in the other direction. I'm going to grab my roundless pliers again, right here on the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. Make a loop. And switch to my square pliers and continue with my little spiral. Squeeze those nice and close together. And there we go. Squeeze my little rings together. Get over there. Make any adjustments that you need to make. And there we have it. Straighten that out. There is my little cuff link. Start my little bar. There it is. There's my little cuff link. And you just put it through your little buttonhole. And you have cuff link. Just like that. Boom. Boom. Cuff link number 1. Okay. Let's move on to the next pair. So for the next pair, we're going to need 2 6-inch pieces, 2 6-inch pieces of wire. Okay. So we're going to go right in the center of the wire. Now, the guy that I saw do this, he didn't do this part, but I think for the sake of security, I added this in. So what we're going to do is right here in the center of the wire, we're going to twist it. We're just going to put a twist in it. 1, 2, and then we're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. That just holds these 2 pieces in place. Because I read somebody in the comments who said that theirs didn't hold together because there were 2 bars, separate bars, and it didn't hold. I don't know how. I didn't do it that way because I didn't want to have the trouble of it falling apart on me. So again, I need about 1/2 inch. That's probably about 3/8. So let's give it one more good twist. And straighten out my little bar here. Okay. Yeah, that's good. It's slightly less than 1/2 inch, but if I give it another twist, it's going to be more than 1/2 inch. So we'll just leave it like that. And then I'm going to grab I'm going to make sure that these are out to the side, just like this. So that's what I have. Then I'm going to grab my square pliers. And right here at the top, 1/2 of my 2 arms that are sticking out, I'm going to bring one of these around to the other wire. And then I'm going to follow that one around with the other wire to start a spiral. Now, the trickiest part of this is that these wires are going to be wanting to scratch you because your hand's in the way. And they're saying, get out of my way. You're in my way. I'm trying to make a spiral here. So that's the biggest thing. But other than that, you're good. Once the wire starts to come down because you're spiraling it, no problem. So again, we're making a spiral. We're just wrapping the wire around itself. You can see the spiral getting bigger and bigger. Very nice. Now, you need to determine how big you want these to be, and it depends on the size of the buttonhole in your French cuff. Usually, traditionally, buttonholes are anywhere from 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, not much more than that. I haven't sewn in a very long time, so I don't know if that's changed, but I think that's about it. So here's what we have on one side. You go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Have one wire towards the other, follow it around with the other one. They're just kind of chasing each other. And I kind of use the pliers, just stay along the top of the pliers, so I don't have to worry about having to push the wires down into place. If you follow the top and don't lift up, you should be okay with your spiral without having to make a lot of adjustments with another pair of pliers to keep your spiral flat. Just wrapping that around. You might need to squeeze these together. Okay. And just keep going, just like you did on the other one, until you have a nice spiral. And again, like I said before, usually when you buy cufflinks, they're one-sided. One side's decorated, the other side is just a little bar that you use to put through the buttonhole part of your shirt on your cuff. But these are two-sided, double-sided, so that they look good no matter who's looking at them and what section they're looking at. Okay, I think that's good. Again, I'm taking it down to about an inch of wire because I don't want it to be too big for my buttonhole. I think that's about right. Make any adjustments. That's a little overlappy. Let's scoot that over. There we go. And so now I'm going to measure. Again, I want about an inch. Now, he did not do this part. This is all me. He stopped it and just made a spiral and nothing else. But I wanted to do another little spiral on top just because I thought it was easier and better, because that way I don't have he just cut it off. Let's just put it that way. He just cut it off, left it like that, said file the ends and you're good. But I didn't want to take the chance of that exposed tip doing damage to your clothes. So I've adapted it to sort of the way that Ross Barbera did his, and I'm putting two little spirals on it instead of just leaving bare wire. A lot of explanation. Okay, there's an inch. This one is a little less than an inch, so let's fix that. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, I forget which ones I measured. That's good. That's about 7/8 of an inch. And I think these two are both a little bit more than 7/8. So I'm going to clip these two down just a smidge so that they're all the same. So we've got about 7/8 of an inch on each one, which is fine. Yes. Okay. So now we're just going to make a spiral, small spiral going in the opposite direction of my large spiral. So my large spiral is going, in this case, clockwise. I'm going to make my small spiral counterclockwise. Again, I'm going to grasp the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers and make a loop. There we go. And then I'm going to switch to my square pliers and spiral back the opposite way until I have a tiny little spiral, real small spiral. And it's just going to be a couple of complete loops there. There we go. Smooth that up a little. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. Around those pliers. Make a loop. There we go. I have my squares. Make my spiral. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do the other side off camera, but this is what we have on the one side. And I'm going to go ahead and do the small spiral on the other side, and I'll be right back. All right, there is my other cufflink. Nice. So that is cufflink number 2. I'm going to have to go out and buy some French cuffs because I've got to wear these. Okay, last but not least, I just made this one up. It's along the same lines as our spirals, except that I thought I'd make it a rose. We use type of the same type of movement. So I thought, well, why don't we go ahead and make one that has a rose? And thought that would be fun. So again, I've got 2 pieces of 6-inch wire, 20 gauge, and right here in the center of my 6 inches, there we go. I'm going to put a twist in it, just like I did before. I'm going to twist, and then another twist, go to the other side. This is just my anchor. It just keeps it from moving, from shifting. I read that person's comment and I went, oh, because otherwise it would just be 2 separate bars held together with the spirals. And apparently that didn't work very well for that person. So I thought, well, I'll just adapt it so that I have braided, kind of a twisted braided bar in the center. Now this is longer than the other side, but I'm not going to worry about that. One rose might be bigger than the other, and that is just fine. They'll be on opposite ends of the shirt. All right, so I should have about a half an inch here in the center. Oh, that's why this side's longer. I need another half turn. There we go. Let's see. There we go. There's about a half an inch. And let's make our rose. So again, I'm gonna, right here on one side where my arms are sticking out to the side, I'm gonna go ahead and put my pliers right there, right under those little arms. And I'm going to bring one wire around to the other one and under. Get my hand out of the way there. And under it, nice and close. Just like that. Then I'm going to bring this one around, and this is going to try to shift on you because that's just the way it does. I'm going to bring this one around, following the other one. It's kind of chasing it. And also under. And I want it nice and close because I want a nice tight rose. Let's get this over where the camera is. And again, I'm going to bring this around and under. Nice and tight. Squeeze that out a bit. And then bring this down and under. Nice and snug. There we go. And then this down and under. And I'm just going to keep doing that. You can see my little rose starting to form. There we go. And just keep doing that. Oops. Get back over here. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. And just keep going until I have my little rose. Now, again, size depends on your cuffs. You can make this, you can make a bigger rose, it just depends. Mine is going to turn out to be about 3/8 of an inch, which is just fine. But you need it to be big enough so that it won't slip out of the little buttonhole. That's the biggest thing that you need to be concerned about. Right. At this point, I think I can take it off of there and use my fingers to hold it instead of my pliers. Might make it a little easier to finish that up. Okay. And I think that's the last wrap I can get around there. Nice. And there's my little rose. Squeeze these together a little bit more. Yeah, there's my rose. Let's go to the other side and do the same thing. around under the other wire. And I always lift it up just a little bit so it's easier to get this wire under it. And it gives it a little bit of a 3D vibe. Okay, round. Nice and close. Now, if you want a bigger rose with more spacing in between, you don't have to wire it as wrap it as tightly as I am. I'm keeping it very tight so that I don't have to cut any off at the end. I have this down to what I know I need for the size that I need. And this way I don't have to end up wasting any wire by cutting any off. Okay, keep that nice and tight. There we go. And under. Okay, and I think I'm going to go back to my fingers and do the rest. Maybe. I hesitate to use my fingers because I think I'm covering up what I'm doing and you can't really see, but I think I've done enough with the pliers so that you get the idea of where we're going, but I'll go back to the pliers. I looked in the camera and thought, well, they can't see what I'm doing. I think I can get one more good wrap under there, and that's going to be about the size of it. Put that under there. I use my pliers to do it. All right, I think we're good. All right, so now I know you're saying, well, what about those ends? Well, very simple. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. This one little end, I'm going to loop it. Just make a loop going down towards the bottom of my rose, the underside of my rose. Just like that. Wrap that around this wire. I'm going to do the same thing with that wire. It's a tiny little piece. So just wrap that down towards the underside of my rose. And then I'm going to push those little tips down into the wrapping that I just did. Because you don't want it to be sticking out down there. Otherwise, it's going to grab your clothes. Every time you try to put your cufflinks on, you're going to end up snagging the cloth, and you don't want to do that. So there's one. Let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Make a loop going in the direction of the underside of my rose. So there's the little loop. And then the same thing with this side. Let's make a loop right here on the tip. And push that little tip into the bottom here so that it sticks in between the other wraps. And I use my finger See if I can feel it. If I can't, I know I've done my job. There. Very good. And there's my other rose. Let's adjust my stem so that it's nice and straight. And there's my rose cufflink. There we have it. Nice. So it's going to just rest like that on your cup. I wish I had something to show you, but with the exception of like cutting up a piece of cloth, which I really, really don't want to do, I don't have anything to show you. I can cut this piece of paper, put it through there. There's my little cup. And it's going to be well, if you know anything about big French cuffs, it's going to be 4 pieces of fabric, 2 on this side, two on that side. So it's going to look like that. With the little bar in between. Yes. And then this one slides down in there. Sorry, I didn't measure. I don't know what size snippet I did here. Oops. Here we go. It's going to be like that. Little bar in the center. And last but not least, get out of there. Oh, goodness. Okay, Mr. Barbera's aging. Aging calf. See, I've angled it. That looks really big. And there is my calf. And that's it. Those are our cool, I'm calling them cool cuffs. And that is what they look like. Here they are, ladies and gents. Everybody out there, these are our cups. Yay, 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 yay. So, I'm trying to remember her name, who asked me about the cufflinks. There they are. I hope that you like them. I need to get some French cuffs or pull out my sewing machine and make a blouse with some French cuffs on them so that I can wear these. That would just be a shame for me not to, because these are kind of awesome. So I hope that you enjoyed this little program. This was fun, a little departure, and I'm so sorry that I missed Father's Day. But she made the comment last week, and I said, "Oh my gosh, Father's Day's coming up," and I completely missed out on my opportunity to do it. She said, "I don't care, do it anyway." So I did. So here are our cufflinks. I hope you like them. So I hope you like our little cufflinks. I think these are so neat. And I want to say thanks again for the suggestion because I'm looking forward to seeing how people like these, or even if you like them. And as I always say, please give me suggestions. I am very open to it, obviously. I love a little bit of departure and I love doing wire work. So anything that I can do that you think of, I would love to try it. If I don't see that I can do it, I will let you know. But a lot of things are very, very doable. And I just absolutely love that I was able to do this. So thank you very much for the suggestion. I really appreciate it. In fact, I think I'm going to go look you up right now and give you a shout out. Just a second, everybody. Anne, Anne Cohen, thank you for the suggestion. I hope you enjoy this. Please let me know one way or the other. And if you have any other suggestions or comments or criticisms, I want to hear it all. You can contact me at jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRY gin20@gmail.com. You can leave comments on the library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb Public Library. You need to spell the whole thing out. DeKalb PUBLICLIBRARY. Or you can leave comments and pictures on the library Facebook page. That is simply facebook.com/DeKalb Library. Again, that's spelled DEKALB Library. Okay? So I hope to hear from you one way or the other. I really enjoy getting pictures sent to the email or put on the Facebook page. Either one, I just hear from you. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great weekend, have a wonderful week, and I will see you later. Bye bye.